If you've ever looked up man on the street style footage from like the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, and even the early 2000s, basically before the internet became mainstream, or at least before social media became mainstream, you'd notice a different energy about people. It seemed like people made better eye contact, they had more energy, more people were just walking around in the streets, people had more hobbies, they were more social. There are a lot of things that I miss when I look at those, and I wasn't even around then. It's like one of the great tragedies of our time. It feels like something was stolen from us, including our brains. And I think a lot of this has to do with the way we are perceiving the world in this internet landscape. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of sick of it. I want to untechnologize my brain, unfrick my brain, think clearer thoughts, have more motivation and energy. So if you're interested in doing the same thing, then this is the video for you. Today we're going to talk about 6 ways to unfrick your brain so that hopefully you can live a more peaceful and joyful existence. So number 1 is to maintain the clarity of your mind. When you first wake up in the morning, there is a default built-in clarity that's already available to you at all times. For some people, there is a baseline anxiety, but that's okay too. Maybe you're working through some stuff, and it's important that you work through some stuff and you don't immediately jump to an algorithm-based feeding tube that's giving you random information at volume. Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, all of this stuff is essentially like gambling with your mental health. You have no idea what's gonna be on that next swipe. No clue. And the more you do it, the more it seems to scramble up your brain. It's confusing. It demotivates you. It reduces your attention span. And yeah, it's fun, and that's the point, I guess, but it really is bad for you. One of my favorite ways to not have it infect your brain so much is to not touch that shit at the beginning part of the day. If you have any interest in being a reasonably productive person who is focused and motivated and driven, then you probably don't want to be jumbling up your brain and reducing your attention span and spiking your cortisol right when you wake up. What are we all doing here? I often just delete the apps for long periods of time just to reduce the occasion of sin. During these periods of social media abstinence, I would highly recommend you dive into movies. You might say, well, oh, movies is just more slop. It's really not. With movies, you're intentionally choosing what you're gonna watch. With short form content, there is no choice. It really is just a slot machine. I think we all need to watch more movies and read more books. The second way to unfrick your brain is to not poison your body as much as you probably do. I'm only gonna touch on this one briefly because I think it's talked about a lot. I think most people dramatically underestimate the effect that the foods they put into their body has on their mental state. A good example of this in my own life is when I have something high carbs, something like bread or oats, my mental clarity is cooked for the next 3 hours. I get all sleepy. I feel kind of bloated. My eyes get watery. I'm definitely not sharp and with it. And I'm not saying that carbs cause brain fog or anything like that, but I have noticed that when I opt for more of a high protein, high good fat meal, there's a bit of a cleaner mental energy that I have when I do that. In fact, I seem to have more mental energy and more clarity, whereas if I went and had a whole bunch of bread, I went to Subway and grabbed a sub, holy smokes, it does take me like 3 hours to recover from that. But yeah, have the slop on occasion. Follow the 90-10 rule. 90% of your diet should probably fuel you and your goals and your interests in life. And the other 10%, yeah, have an ice cream every once in a while. The third way to unfrick your brain is to reset and not ruminate. So if you failed steps 1 and 2, say you ate the slop through your eyes and you watched the slop through your mouth, you probably don't have the energy to pursue your goals, to climb out of debt, to focus on your side hustle or your main hustle. And this feels really bad. And when you're in this negative mental state, most people start to ruminate. And since rumination is stressful, you will want something to relieve that stress. And the thing you'll probably use is the very thing that caused the stress in the first place. Overstimulation, eating the piggy slop, reducing your attention span, and falling for short-term pleasure, which just leads to the same rumination. So say it's midway through the day and you're very disappointed in yourself, you feel really bad, blah, blah, blah. Reset. Don't ruminate. It's obvious that you're not getting very much work done. You're not in a productive, mentally clear state of mind. So stop the cart before it falls off the cliff, reassess, reevaluate your situation, and take the time to gain your mental clarity back. That act of slowing your brain down with no stimulation, trying to be present, will decrease the static in your mind. You're not flooding it with dopamine all the time. Just reset. Wake up, get a bit of energy, walk around the block, and then try again. Then try to do your work. I guarantee you it'll be so much easier if you do that than if you just magically are in this state of rumination and lethargy and then you just try to force yourself to work. You're able to do that once in a blue moon. Sometimes it works, but usually it doesn't. So get better at identifying what kind of mental state you're in and try to course correct. Reset. Don't ruminate. Before we get into our next tip, I would just like to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, which is Anker. Anker recently sent me their Liberty 5 Pro and Pro Max earbuds, and I'm quite impressed by the amount of technology they packed into these things. What they are built around is call quality, specifically being heard. They hold the Guinness World Record for the clearest calls of any wireless earbuds. And what that means in practice is you can take a call somewhere absurdly loud and the person on the other end just hears you. So I don't know if you can hear how loud it is in here.
I'm testing the noise cancellation technology of the Anker soundcore Liberty 5 Pro Max. It is insanely loud in here.
And hopefully
you can hear me clearly.
And the noise cancellation goes in the other direction as well. If you happen to be somewhere where it's extremely loud and you want to lock in, the active noise cancellation on these things are extremely impressive. And one thing I especially appreciate is that their transparency mode actually sounds like real life, not like you're hearing life through a tin can. Another thing I wanted to mention is the AI note-taking feature is genuinely helpful. As somebody who's constantly using the voice memos app on my phone, I will definitely be using this from now on because it actually transcribes the audio and gives you an AI summary organizing your thoughts so it's not just train of thought that I'll never listen to again. It's something that I can actually look back on and extract the valuable ideas out of, saving me so much headache in the future. I also love that you can upload custom wallpapers from photos on your phone. Super cool. I don't know any other headphones that do that. If you want to pick up the Liberty 5 Pro and Pro Max, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so make sure you take advantage of that using the link below. And thanks again to Anker for sponsoring this video. The fourth way to unfrick your brain is to participate. One of the most disturbing things that social media culture has conditioned us to become is voyeurs. We watch people. We peer into their relations, we're invited into their homes, and we just watch them live their life. But it's not even that we're watching them live their life. We're watching an edited video that they posted that's supposed to be their life, and it's usually a better version of their life. Our society is structured this way where this happens more and more and more, to the point where real people are kind of like proxies for their online version. So there's a lack of participation going on. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm talking to a camera, and you're not talking to anybody either. You're just watching me. And I'll give you an example of why this is destructive. When I was in university, like most single freshman guys, I was very interested in talking to girls and, flirting with them, trying to get their number, and eventually going on a date with them. One thing I really noticed is that when I did that organically, face to face, that interaction usually went fairly well for me. But I would have this habit as a freshman, and most people have this habit today. They go, okay, Stacy, I wonder if she has any mutual friends. I'm gonna look her up on Facebook to see kind of what her vibe is. And when I would do that, I would notice that the next time I saw Stacy, my confidence was just down the toilet. It's almost like by scouring her Facebook, I started to develop my own opinion in isolation from her as to what she must be like. And since I changed my opinion on what Stacy must really be like by going on her Facebook, then in a way, her real life persona, her real life personhood was sort of a proxy for her real life, which was the one that she posted on the internet. I could have had a very nice interaction with Stacy and was looking forward to seeing her again, but after I crept her on Facebook, things kind of changed. Don't do this, guys. Like, this is fundamentally weird. Participate in conversation. Get to know people in real life. Don't escape to the internet where you're just watching people. You're not missing out on anything by not going on Instagram. The fifth way to unfrick your brain is to forget yourself. I think so much modern wisdom, so much modern self-improvement is obsessed with this idea of perfecting thyself. And a lot of the time, thinking this way is completely counterproductive to what the original goal was. Take looks maxing. People clown on looks maxing all the time. They say it's stupid, and it kind of is in a certain way. But there are elements to looks maxing that are probably pretty useful. If you're self-conscious about certain elements of your physical appearance, say you have something very correctable, then I'm not gonna lie to you and say that those things don't matter. People judge you in less than a second. And if people find you more attractive and more well put together, then they'll probably treat you better. Pretty sure it's scientifically proven at this point. However, a little bit goes a long way. If you were previously self-conscious about something about your physical appearance and then you correct those things, it can lead to more confidence. But if you sit there and attempt to perfect your appearance, then it just leads to more self-consciousness again. And the times where you're the most free and confident and peaceful and probably come across way better is when you literally forget that you exist. Every once in a while, you hit that Goldilocks zone, that rare time when socializing feels like it just clicks. You're free, you're light, you're having a good time, and you're present. I think the key to confidence, especially in 2026, is not to become more self-aware. It's to become less self-aware. It's to forget yourself. Dive fully into the projects you're working on, the things that you enjoy, and the people you're talking to. It feels much better. Okay, and the final way to unfrick your brain is to adapt, not despair. If you're in a rough place in life, things aren't going as expected. Maybe you're dealing with an injury, fatigue, brain fog, no hope for the future, bad finances, whatever it is. It's very tempting to despair. It's very tempting to say, there's no hope for the future. It's so over. And it's very tempting to blame yourself for what's gone wrong. I propose a different way of looking at this that'll probably be more useful. I believe that everybody is just operating in a way that they believe at the time leads to the most happiness at any given moment. For instance, say that you like a drug, and let's call this drug mandarin oranges. You know that if you were to stop eating them, your life would improve forever. And you hate the fact that it doesn't make sense that you eat mandarin oranges so much. But when you see a mandarin orange sitting there in front of you, you think to yourself, it would be more painful to not eat this than it would be to eat it. I think that eating this mandarin orange would lead to the most happiness in this moment. That's all your brain is doing. Then after you do it, you say, oh my goodness, I can't believe I fell for that. What was I thinking? I'm an idiot. I did it again. I long for the day where I no longer feel like I have to do that. How many times have you done that with whatever your thing is? If you keep thinking that way towards it, you will keep doing the same thing towards it. Your information needs to change. Your outlook towards your situation needs to change, right? It's not about trying harder. It's not about shaming yourself harder. So instead of getting down on yourself for making bad decisions in life, change your information up. It doesn't need to be the perfect thing that finally gets you to live a better life. All it needs to be is different for you to make progress, because thinking the same way about the same thing and doing the same things doesn't lead to a lot of progress, right? You've done it this way enough. You have the information drilled into you. So now try changing your approach, tackle it from a different angle, see if it works better or worse. Observe the changes, see how it worked out for you, and then move on to a different set of information. Tackle it from a different angle. This approach will help you far more than burying your head in the sand and saying, it's so over. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you would do me a favor and like the video, hit the like button and leave a comment telling me what you liked about the video. When you do that, the algorithm blesses me and it shoves my bald head into other people's homepages, helping them out, which also helps me out. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody involved. If you're lurking here, consider subscribing, although that doesn't really do anything in the year of our Lord 2026. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.